get it going, shall we?
Alrighty. Alright, Big John, I'm gonna count you down here whenever you are ready. So I'll kind of explain the game as we go. We can just go ahead and jump into it as quickly as possible. So we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. Now, typically, this game is, we don't start the timer until we gain movement, which is about 6 minutes in. But I accounted for that in the estimate, so we should be fine. And you guys are going to get to watch the intro in all of its glory. And because this game is so fast-paced, and there is so much that that goes on with all the, I mean, we're going to be from start to finish, skipping, glitching, clipping, like you name it, throughout the entirety of the game. This game is casually a, significantly longer game. We're going to do it in hopefully around an hour and 40 minutes. But basically, I'll give you the short rundown. This is Anachronox. It was developed by a team called Ion Storm, which you might know for Deus Ex and Daikatana. And I think I got that right. And it's a kind of a sci-fi. It's kind of a sci-fi futuristic style of game, and it's hilarious. Like, the big key takeaway when you play this game is the comedic aspect of it is amazing. The writing is so funny. And it's a shame that in this any % category, we're going to skip almost all of it, but we're going to get to see a few scenes here that we wouldn't normally in speedruns, just for this marathon, and this is one of them. Basically, you play a detective named Boots, Sylvester Buccelli, called Sly Boots, and he's washed up, has been, he drinks his feelings away, and stuff like that. So pretty relatable guy, and he wants to go on. He wants to make some scratch, wants to make some money, so that he can, not be broke. And he, through a series of events, finds himself in a what he thought was a job that turns into saving the entire universe. So it's a pretty grand scheme. You're pretty, cut of the mill, very big idea and very big plan and goal that this guy has, but he starts off with humble beginnings. He's got a team of characters around him. One of them is Fatima, which used to be his detective assistant, who has passed away, and I'll explain that later on in the game. But she actually, it's funny, so her character is actually your mouse. It's a little interesting tidbit, and you'll use the mouse to interact with stuff, and there's a whole slew of things that she's capable of. But now you're going to see Boots getting beat up because he owes someone money. This is voice acted as well. It's going to be, sounds really good. I think I have subtitles on. I hope I do. Is that Leon?
The money fools.
Yeah, there we go. I do have audio on.
I mix and match.
What are those faces? What do you mean? This is 2002. This dude, Boots, is made up of like 700 polygons. That's his polygon count.
Hit me.
You guys just watched a Genesis game, and you can
Have a heart.
No, this game is very blocky, and I mean it's of its time. It's on brand. Back then this is cutting edge stuff.
With the debt, Sly. Debt is no slouch, and he's got muscle. He'll collect one way or the other.
Hey, money's tough.
So yeah, this is Boots right here, our main character. He's talking to Rowdy at the bar, basically drinking his feelings away. He'll get yelled at by Fatima, his digital assistant, and then we'll go try to make ourselves some money. Now, I'm gonna warn you right now, I'm gonna try my best to explain the story.
Yeah?
But it's very, very grandiose. It's a huge, very involved story that involves traveling all around the galaxy, saving multiple planets, all kinds of stuff. But in the any percent, we're going to just skip all of that. we're gonna do so much tech right off the bat. We're gonna skip a cutscene by saving inside of it and loading it, and that drops the cutscene. And then right after that, we're going to save a save file that we'll use to skip every single encounter in the game. So there's so much that's going on. And this is Fatima, the responsible young lady who, you know, is trying to keep Boots in line. Yeah, I was about to throw John for a loop by just playing one of his VODs real subtle in the background, just making him crazy. You couldn't figure out where it's coming from.
Anything on SenderNet?
So yeah, I guess my name is Professor _ Palmer. I run a lot of RPGs. This game is an amazing RPG. We're gonna skip most of the RPG elements, except for like towards the end, you'll kind of see some of the combat. We only take 5 fights in the whole game, and that's where the real turn-based RPG style comes into play.
An office isn't a storage room in a cheap bar, Boots.
Hey,
It's time for a new line of work.
forget it, sweetheart. I'm a detective. It's what I do.
Then go out and do it.
All right, so this is where my timer would start. I'm gonna start it, but we're good with where we're at right now. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with playing the game. So right off the bat here, what we're gonna do is we're going to skip a cutscene by he lied. Oops. What is going on? I swear this has never happened before. Nah, I'm just kidding. It happens all the time. This is not marathon luck. Instead, we needed to make sure that we saved right inside of that cutscene there. Now we're going to make a secondary save right here. And the reason for that is we're going to run forward, and then we're going to load this save. And now, right now, we are in a tutorial round of combat that has a cutscene that takes place right after it. Well, because that cutscene has never finished loading, we're not going to be able to we're going to be completely immune to all encounters in the future. So you're going to see me do this a lot, which is saving and then loading, and that allows me to skip. I get credit for the cutscenes as if they've finished and taken place, but I don't have to sit and watch them, which is dope. And because we can't take any kind of fights or encounters, we're going to go over here to the combat area where it teaches you all the mechanics of the game, and we're just going to leave. We're just going to straight up walk out. We're supposed to fight this robot in instanced combat, but we're just going to get this gun from this dude, and then we're going to bounce. He basically tells you all the stuff you need to know, but it's not important because we have some really interesting tech that makes combat completely trivialized in this game. And we're going to do very little of it. This guy got in my way. He does that sometimes. So yeah, we just leave that robot, and we completely are bugged out of the actual combat section. So Ion Storm, the people who made this, were founded by some of the developers of the original Doom series. And I tweeted some of those, Tom Hall, as you might know. I tweeted some of those devs before I started. So we'll see if they come shake their heads at us a little bit. But right away, we're just gonna ignore all of the tutorials and stuff like that. So the anytime that you see, like, the encounters in this game aren't random, they're always gonna take place where they should be at, and you can actually see them, like they'll be standing on the map physically. And anytime you see somebody like that, and you're like, what is that ugly, scary-looking dude looking at us for? Well, the reason is because he's supposed to be taking a fight with us, and we're immune to it. So we're going to skip another cutscene with this bug-looking creature. His name is K. Conrad. And nice, got it. So that fountain area cutscene that I have, or that save file that I have saved, I need to make sure that I never save over it. Because that is, we're gonna like revisit that save file. So at any point in the game where we want to activate the ability to skip cutscenes, we're just gonna load up that save from the very beginning of the game, reactivate the encounter skip, and then go right back to what we were doing, because it persists through save files. So that's one thing you want to micromanage is you have a limited amount of saves, and you want to make sure that you're doing them correctly and not getting too much crap in too many places. I'm actually going to show you, so there's 2 skips that are about to come up. The first one's going to be the Batman skip, which is where we, I don't know who called it that, but one day we just started calling it that. Me and the one other runner of this game. And we're going to do the Batman skip. Now, this next skip right after this, there's 2 ways to do it, but I'm going to show you the funnier way because it's hilarious. Oh, look, we landed. Oh, no! Okay, so we actually have to cheat. Scuffed. So the run is... Oops. There we go. So I actually got stuck in like a little soft lock spot right there. But, you know, I would just usually reset. It happens sometimes. Don't worry about it. You guys didn't see anything. Okay, so the guy is actually in a really, really favorable spot. The NPC that I'm after. No, it's not invalid. Everybody relax. Oh, I didn't see him. So there's a skip right here. We're going to see where this NPC is at. If he's in a good spot, we'll just... if he's in a good spot, we'll just use him. But he doesn't look like he's in a good spot at all. That's a bummer. So there's 2 ways to skip this next area. The first one is to do what I'm gonna do, and the second one is to lure an NPC over here and bounce off his head, which is way funnier, but it takes a lot longer. So we don't really have time to do that. If he was in a good spot, we would have done it. Instead, what we're gonna do is come here. We have the ability to strafe. Because we paused in the middle of dialogue, which gives you this weird strafe ability, and then we're just going to strafe ourselves right over this fence. And we skipped. So right now what we're doing should be the very last bit of content in this chapter, but we're going to do it first. And then we're going to click on this wall right here and just pull a random strongest sword in the game right out of the wall. Apparently there's like a chest way higher up on the other side of the earth, and we can actually just activate the hitbox by clicking on that specific spot in the wall in the elevator. And we're just doing that so we can sell it. It's a pretty neat trick. And before I go too much further, I guess I'll mention that there's one guy, like, this game is more broken than Ocarina of Time in my opinion. Like, if you really have played the game casually, you would get a good grasp of just how much broken stuff is taking place. And one guy found all of it. His name is Alpaca, and he did all the work for this game. So as opposed to having a huge team of people that are, you know, constantly debugging and finding skips and glitches and stuff, this is all found by one single person. And he's a legend. He's amazing. But so shout out to Alpaca. He's the Anachronox king, and he taught me everything I know. Real good lad. So yeah, we pull a sword out of the wall. Then we're gonna click on this bat right here, and it's gonna clip us to the other side. Saves us a little bit of time having to walk, and we also need to pick up a few things to sell because we need an exact amount of money. We need $5,275, and that sword we picked up sells for $5,000, and these little bugs and crap, or maybe $4,000. I can't remember. What's important is that the total comes to $5,275 because we're going to purchase some things that you shouldn't have access to until way late. See these guys? We should be fighting them right now, but we're not. And that guy over there. We're just running past everything. It's all just a suggestion. Taking a casual stroll. And this is the last thing we'll pick up. We're going to pick up 2 health things, but we won't really need them. This is like, I was worried about getting derusted for this, but it all came back to me pretty quickly, so I'm glad. But if we have some mistakes, it's not like you guys will know, right? Because half the time, I don't even know the skips I'm doing. So we're all just going to experience this together, and that's really the beauty of it. So what we should be doing, when we are in the bricks, we should go talk to this lady who will tell us there's an old man offering some money in exchange for a quest. So instead of going and finding the lady, instead of going and finding the old man, we're just going to do the quest that he was going to ask us to do. Now, because the game assumes that we had already recruited him in our party, it really doesn't know how to react. So you're going to see here in a second that I'm going to take this short little cutscene, and Boots is going to look to an invisible character that's not there, and then all of a sudden, boop, he's going to be in our party. Yeah, exactly. You guys won't know any better. So he's looking at an invisible Grumpos who, boom, there he is magically on the back of this wave runner in the sewer. So this is a neat little mini game here where you're supposed to dodge all of the fire crates and instead hit like the little you know, shoot missiles or whatever or dodge them. But we're actually going to lose and click this button that says, let's just pretend that I beat it. Which is not anything to do with speedrunning. That's that's on the developer side of things. So God bless them. Shouts to them, making it easy. But this game doesn't take itself seriously at all. There's a lot of that. Yeah, they really did the most. They're a solid group of guys. So here we're going to pick up 2 more things. One potion and then another potion. And then we're going to do the first cutscene based skip in the game. Cutscene skips, like, we're going to use the ability, like, anytime you get credit for a cutscene, you can open up your menu and you can choose to watch that cutscene back just for funsies at any point. But we actually use those to warp us to certain spots in the world based on where they take place. So what we're going to do is the first cutscene, you know, manipulation style skip in that capacity here in a second. But first we're going to pick up this potion and then one more. But I have to crash the game a lot. And the reason that you're going to see me close and reopen the game is because I need to be able to drop that battle immunity that I picked up earlier that I've been talking so much about. But don't worry, I open it up really quickly and you guys won't even notice, except for the fact that the screen will go black and whatnot. But I mean, that's not important. So this is the last piece of material we need. I'm going to go ahead and save right here. Crash the game. Open it back up. We're going to load that same save file we just made. We're going to turn around over here. We're going to run towards this. We're going to save inside of the save. We're going to load the fountain area, a completely different area. We're going to open up the mods. We're going to watch the scene. So right now what's happening is we actually have 2 separate cutscenes that are taking place at the exact same time. And the way we do this is as soon as this cutscene finishes being watched, it's going to end us where the cutscene should end us. However, we have to save really quickly because the game will try to unload us from that state and put us back where we started. So by saving in one frame, we can guarantee that we stay where we are at the end of the cutscene, basically bypassing whatever that cutscene led to. And then we'll use that to walk out of bounds and get to the next area. So I'm going to start mashing. I have 1 frame to land this. Boom. There we go. Now the game will unload itself right here, this one moment. And if you look, the Sentinel is back to sleep. And then we'll just dipset. We're just going to take off. Later, suckers! So yeah, we use that to bypass that Sentinel. How do I... I mentioned earlier that there's one guy who found every single piece of tech that you're going to see me do in this game. His name is Alpaca, and he's... don't ask. I have no idea how he found this stuff. I just learned it. He knows everything there is. He is the human Wikipedia for Anachronox. He's amazing.
I busted my knuckles.
But we're going to watch this... we're going to watch this little scene here, and then we need to get credit for the scene that follows immediately after. And that's called the Detta scene. So we're going to wait for us to walk a few steps so that we guarantee we get credit, and then we're going to have to watch that scene, and then watch it a second time and land a single frame. Oh! Nice, I got it. Alright, cool. So we have 1 frame to land that input. We skip the cutscene. It warps us to where we should be when it finishes. And now we just go about our life without having to watch the multiple minutes of scenes. Now what we're going to do is go do what we should have done first, which is find the lady that tells us about the quest giver. We did the quest, bypassed parts 1 and 2, and did part 3. Now we're going to go back to do part 1. I'm trying to explain this the best I can, guys. I apologize. It's you know, sometimes I don't even know what's happening. So we're going to crash so that the game doesn't unload that cinematic that's currently running in the background. And we're going to pick-lock this lady's door. Cool. So when you're picking a lock, it'll never be the default number. So how it says 1 right there, it'll never be number 1. It'll always be something else. So you can use that to your advantage and assume. So like it will never be 4. So I can know which way to go based on the this right here. Cool. So we need to take a couple of steps and again crash the game. That way we know we got credit. We got credit for that specific scene so that we can use it to... Oh, I missed it. Again, you got a single frame to land those, and I'm going to do it a lot throughout this run, so you'll have to forgive me if it takes more than 1 attempt. Nice. So by doing this, it's a quest called Deanimo the Stump, where we meet her. Instead, we're going to steal this bracelet she has. And then we have very little time before this scene finishes that's running in the background. So by picking this door and failing, it unlocks the save menu, which allows us to crash the game, reload the game, and maintain that bracelet and credit for the scene. So now we have this bracelet we can equip. We can save again, and we're good to go. Now that bracelet is pretty important because it increases your ATB speed in combat, and later on in the game, fights are super easy, but you know, obviously you go faster if you have faster ATB speed. So now that we've done part 3 and then part 1, we're going to do part 2 of this area. And it is to get Grumpos, who is actually already in our party because we bugged him out. So he's right there. Even though we haven't met him yet, we're going to go meet him. Yeah, just, you know, it's easy to follow along. Just make sure you're listening. That's So we're going to come here, we're going to do this, and as soon as we pick lock, we actually, oops, I just opened up the wrong thing. As soon as we pick lock, we get credit for that scene. So we're going to go over here to mods, meeting Grumpos, land that 1 frame trick. Absolute legend. We're going to come over here, and we're going to go down to floor 1. Now I need to start mashing escape to open up the menu now, because as soon as we finish getting off of this elevator, the game is going to try to unload that cutscene that's currently playing in the background and put us back at that door. And we say no. There it unloads, and we're actually going to go to the fountain area because we want to make ourselves immune to combat once again. And now we can continue. So the reason we want to be immune to combat is because in the middle of Anachronox in this tenements area, there's not a hard fight, but slow nonetheless. Animations and combat in this game are super, super slow. So we want to make sure that, you know, we don't have to deal with them unnecessarily. So we're going to go this way. And now what we're going to do is grab this helmet. So Grumpos, when you meet him, he says, I need you to do one thing before I give you, you know, a higher paying quest. And I need you to go get a helmet from a guard. And we say, okay. Well, we've actually already done the harder quest. He just doesn't know it. But we're going to sell all this stuff because we have to have a very specific amount of money in order for the game to let us purchase a train ticket here in a little bit. That's actually for the very end of the game, but it's faster to do it now in the first area while we have access to it. So everything that you see, like these little things I'm clicking on, doors that I open, some things can be opened by clicking on them, some can be opened by using spacebar. And like, what's weird is that it's never the same. So like this door in front of me, I can actually open with spacebar right now if I wanted to. But later on, when I come back to this area, it won't open up with spacebar. It's just weird quirks that this game has. I'm not really sure why it works like that. Alpaca seems to think that it has something to do with the port to Steam. But in any case, it's irrelevant. So now we are going to we're going to go find this guard. And we usually would have to fight him. But because we're immune to taking fights, we're just going to talk to him a bunch. And he's just going to give us his helmet, which is real cash money of him. I don't know if you guys can tell that this game was made on the Quake engine or not. Yeah, what a bro. He's a real solid guy, real solid dude. Alrighty. So we're gonna come over here and talk to him, say what's up. He's gonna say like a bunch of, he's got like problems with his wife or something. I don't know. I'm not really that interested. Or he's depressed. I think that's what it is. He says, here's my helmet, now go away. And we're like, alright, dope, because that's really all we wanted. We don't care about his feelings, it's not really interesting. So now we go back to where we tried to pick Grumpos's door. And we skipped that cutscene. We need to go back to that area. But because we have Grumpos in our party when we shouldn't, we can actually just click on Grumpos by using a neat little save and load trick, and that will immediately warp us to the end of the quest. It's super funny looking. I'll show you guys when we get to that zone, but for now we're just taking a lovely stroll, which I guess is a really good time for me to mention, you know, Big John, all the runners, everybody who's taken part in this event. Oh shoot, I hear myself. Why is that taking place? Oh, my phone. Well, that was not a pleasant sound. Anyways, Big John, all you guys, everybody who's had anything to do with this event and gone out of your way to make it happen, you know, you guys are very selfless, and it's a really cool thing you guys are doing. So I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, and with that, we're gonna continue. We're gonna do the Batman skip one more time. Hopefully, I don't have to cheat. But yeah, the world record is alpaca. He recently got it back with some new tech he discovered, and man, it's awesome. I'm not going to be using that new tech in this run though, because it's kind of dangerous and inconsistent as far as like how good I am at it. So I didn't want to risk it. So right here we're going to save. We're going to load this save file. We're going to come here, and then we're going to click as fast as we can on the middle of the screen in hopes that we can click on Grumpos. What do you mean cheat again? You never did. That's what I'm saying. See, this is the kind of support I need in my life. I appreciate you guys. There we go. We got it. Nice. So because we're bugged out, Boots is actually supposed to be in this scene and he's not.
Data beefed up security since the de-animation.
There we go. Now it's fixed.
Getting into the tunnels might be trouble.
We'll deal.
Here, take this and plug it in your ear. You'll understand every language from here to the Traeger anomaly.
Spiffy. Where'd you pull this baby from?
The Nox Guard helmet.
So what he's saying here is
2 months ago.
the reason we stole that thing from the guard is it has an earpiece that can translate all the languages in the universe into languages you understand.
Where the hell
And it's
we
going to
go
be
now?
pertinent to the story.
Lead the way.
Not our story, but like, you know, a story. There we go. So now what we need to do is we need to go and recruit Boots' little buddy pal. He is the third member that's going to join our party, and his name is Pal, like P-A-L. A babblefish? Yeah, exactly. See, you guys know. I need to make sure that I have battle skip active. I can check by trying to open up inventory, and if inventory doesn't open up, I know that the battle skip is currently activated. So we're going to go attempt to go get Pal here, and in order to do that, we have to go back to that flying bug guy that we skipped earlier and skip another cutscene for him. So we're gonna go right over here to this door that can be opened up with spacebar now, but not earlier. And this thing has changed from spacebar to clicking. So PAL and not NTSC. Yeah, I know. It's super archaic. Like, what were they thinking? And this PAL that we're about to encounter here is a real sassy guy. So now that we have credit for that scene, we're gonna crash the game so that we don't have to watch it. And then we're going to open up the K. Conrad Speaks. Ooh, frame 1, we nailed it. Because why wouldn't we? You know what I'm saying? And then we have to come over here, ride this elevator, and start mashing save. Because, like I mentioned, and it's going to continue to happen, anytime that we do that cutscene trick where we stack 2 cutscenes on top of each other, the game is going to try to unload them. So we need to wait for it to unload. There it is. So Ion Switz, you're seeing in chat right here, is actually one of the developers of this game. Big shouts to him and everybody at Ion Storm. Thanks for watching, Switz. Every time that he tweets, I always reply to him with Anachronox 2 confirmed. And I know it just drives him up a wall, but one day he's just gonna cave and it's gonna get made, and like, who's gonna be sorry then? Not me, that's for sure. So now we had to go talk to that bug in order to come over here to this area. Otherwise it wouldn't be accessible. And we're gonna pay $200 to get a pair of batteries so that we can turn our buddy back to life. And then we're gonna do a really cool trick where we technically start the game over. I'm gonna save here, and then I'm gonna save once more. So talk to this guy, say, yo, what's good? Give me he's 200 loonies. We say, sure, not even a big deal. And then we do this little warp right here. We start the game all the way over, and then we stack the cutscene right on it, and boom, bugged out cutscene. Now the reason we're bugging out this cutscene is because what I did in that series of saves, loads, and overwrites is that my game state is the same. So even though my character progress and my progression, my storyline triggers, all that stuff has maintained its integrity, but the game is still starting over. So at the end of this scene, it's going to warp us right to where we would start the game at the very first area, that bar, and we're going to have all of our stuff still. So all of this convoluted stuff that's taking place, all of this craziness, what's happening is just to save us a few seconds on having to walk back. That's it. It looks way crazier than it is, but hey man, for the sake of speed. We're gonna do this a few times in the run where we do these crazy cutscenes where we bug them out, and it's pretty funny because we're gonna have characters that will be in one cutscene overlapping on the other, so there'll be like big empty space with like a bunch of soldiers run. Pretty soon, I think you'll see Boots actually running in the background here. I can't remember. Maybe that's later. But you'll see TVs floating through space, all kinds of stuff. It's really nuts. Yeah, we're lazy, so we obviously don't want to run backwards. Look at that. That's a good shade, solid shade of green. There's a computer just floating through the ether. That's one of my favorites. You guys think this is crazy? Wait till we get to the Cinder skip here in a little bit. So again, we gotta mash save because the game will try to unload itself. There we go. We unload Rowdies, and boom, we're good to go. So now that we have the batteries, we're gonna go wake up Pal, and then we're gonna do another skip that lets us jump out of Boots' office window and save a couple more seconds of having to walk back. And it looks dope, so like, why wouldn't you, you know? Alrighty, so now we have Pal, and he's a sassy guy. I'll let you listen to this dialogue. He's funny.
Pal? Pal? Hey, pal.
And if you guys hear that sound and you're wondering why, am I using an inhaler or something? No, I'm vaping. I'm a tool, so I apologize if you guys have to listen to it.
Hey, settle down. Battery comes out as easily as it went in.
No, please don't, Mr. Boots. I'm a good boy. Don't turn me off. No.
Hey, you're acting pretty funny. You burn out a circuit or something?
No, sir, Mr. Boots. I feel hammersless.
So we're gonna do a neat little trick right here called the World Skill clip.
I'm not paying extra.
And first we're gonna save, then we're gonna load the encounter skip. So boom, we're gonna come here, load up the encounter skip so that we are immune to encounters. Then we're gonna stand in front of this door and attempt to unlock it, but click on this family portrait, which stops us from doing so. Come to this desk, click on this camera, mash the text, get up on top of the desk, jump out the window. Did you guys follow? Did you follow that? See, it's simple. It's It's so hard to explain it, man. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can. Now that we got Pal, we can actually come over. We can get ready to leave this planet, and the next planet is even crazier. This next area, when we go to Cinder Station, is actually the biggest skip in the entire game. It's what allows us to go from the beginning of the game to the very end, and just do the story triggers that are required for the end game content to even take place. So 30 minutes is the first world, and then the rest of the run is just setting up the finale. So we're gonna come over here, boop boop. It's clear as mud. Yeah, exactly, right. See, at least when I run Parasite Eva marathons and people are like, why is this happening? I just say, it's mitochondria, dude, you just wouldn't understand. Well, in this game, like, I don't understand, so I really don't have an explanation for you. Let's just hope that Alpaca shows up in chat and explains however he found all this stuff. Because again, like, every single skip and glitch that we're doing is like 5-6 steps or more. The Cinder one's insane, you're about to see. And he found all of this on his own. He's insane. So we're actually going to, every character in this game has a world skill, whereas Boots is to unlock doors. Grumpos has one called Yammer, which is where he literally just spews out words, and it makes people so bored that they go away or get stunned. That's his it's his ability. So we're gonna use it on this guy right here to make him get out of our way. Oops. And we just gotta mash the corresponding arrows with the lungs. He's gotta take a really deep breath so he can just spew all the nonsense like a political Twitter account. And there it goes. And by doing so, we make this guy get out of our way. So here, what we're gonna do, I wanna show you guys something. So this ticket cost about $5,000, right? And that's the reason, if you don't have more than 5,000 bucks, you can't actually buy it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here, and we're gonna look at this ticket, which cost 100. We're gonna do this. We're gonna hit pause, open up this, 91 bucks. Much more reasonable. And then we'll just buy this one for whatever. We actually don't care. So that is a way for us to save $5 grand. And that's all the money we're actually gonna use for the remainder of the run. Why is the price changing constantly? So it's supposed to give you the illusion of people are buying tickets at such a rapid rate that the price is fluctuating so heavily. It's, you know, that's I think that's what was intended. It's also super RNG. Oh no, we missed the train. What a bummer. I guess I'll use this now to be able to scroll down. So this is actually the Cinder Station cutscene. We're about to take the train, and we're actually gonna watch this whole scene. Why? Because we need credit for it. You know, when we skip some cutscenes, we don't get credit for them depending on how we do it, and we need this one for warping places later on in the game. And it's a pretty neat cutscene. It's not broken. You won't see any green. Everything will be intended, at least right now. But just to give you an example for where we're at story-wise. So what's taking place is Boots, Pal, and Grumpos, they went, you know, the first thing I did was I went into the caves and fought the Stone Sentinel by not fighting him. But there was a piece of Mistech that kind of looks like in the Fifth Element, you know, those little stone rod things that everybody fought over, the elements. It looks like that, and it's called Mistech. And Mistech are elements that allow you to cast magic, and they harness great power. And we found one underneath the caves. Well, right as we found it, Detta, the gangster that Boots owes all that debt to, showed up and took it from us. So now we are on a mission to find Detta, or to find information about Mistech that we can utilize in obtaining it back from Detta, and, you know, using it for whatever magical properties that it may have. Now Grumpos, that's what he's interested in. Boots and Pal, they're just along because they're going to get paid for this job. And that's basically where we at story-wise. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly to Cinder Station. Now what you should be doing storyline-wise when you get to Cinder Station is you should be flying to this planet where only geniuses are allowed to live. And when you try to go through the gate, the guard stops you and he says, hey, you're obviously not very smart. You're not even in a lab coat. So then you got to go buy a lab coat and answer a couple of silly questions, and it's super funny. But we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is skip actually all of the worlds that we're supposed to go to. We're going to clip out of bounds. We're going to use 2 separate cutscenes to force ourselves into different portions of the map, and then we're going to go through the exit door that takes us to the very end of the game. Very easy stuff. Real simple. And I'll kind of explain it as I do it, hopefully, but it's kind of convoluted, and I'm trying to pay attention to my notes right here to make sure that I do it right. So I apologize if I go dark on you guys for a second. So we're going to save right here. We're going to open up the Data cinematic. Then we're going to do a load, a save, and a load. And this should pull us out of bounds. And it does. Perfect. We're going to switch to boots. We're going to run forward. Hold in forward. We're going to hit tab 1, 2, 3 times because it changes our propulsion and how we fall through the map. We need to land right about here. Perfect. Perfect. We're going to save right here just in case something bad happens. And then we're going to edge towards right here. Save again. Now we're going to load the Stone Sentinel. We got 1 frame to open the menu. We're going to load. We're going to save. We're going to load. And that's going to pop us right back in bounds, right at the end of this whole area. Now what we need to do is we need to save right here because we'll need this save much later on. We're going to click on this, which gives us free range of teleporting through the world. We're going to save because the game is going to try to unload itself. Talk to Grumpos. Come over here. Initiate this, and boom. That is the Cinder skip. We have skipped a huge chunk of the game. Basically everything we need to do story-wise. By doing that, we were able to skip to Hephaestus, which we actually just need to buy a single 2 pieces of gear, and then we'll use what's called the Cinder Warp. So I made that save at that space station, and we're going to revisit that save to allow us to warp our current progression save file to wherever we want to go. So we come over here. This item shop we're about to go into is called Ed's House of Crap. We're going to buy it. We're going to buy one of these, buy. And we're going to save here. We're going to open up the Cinder Station save that we have. And then we're going to open up this and mash spacebar. Didn't get it. In an attempt to bring up the UI over the overlapping over the other save file. And we got it. Nice. Let me make sure which way I'm supposed to go. I think it's left once. Yep, it is left once. We nailed it. Cool, so now we've skipped to Limbus, which is literally the last place in the game you're supposed to go. Are you guys following? Are you guys following? Is it pretty easy to understand so far? Cool, I'm glad. Now when people watch this on YouTube or whatever, they're gonna say, "Oh wow, I can't believe chat was following along so well with this." But they're not really gonna know that you guys are just as confused as I am. And that's the beauty of it. So this area, we're supposed to be taking all these encounters. You're lost? Yeah, well. You know what? We'll start over. Alrighty, so now this Limbus area, what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to have 3 party members, right? And these 3 party members are each assigned like a little mini game task in this next area. Well, right now we have bugged the game in a way that allows us to only have Boots, which is done on purpose. And once we have Boots, and because the game recognizes that he's the one character, it makes him do all 3 of these mini games, which is ideal for us because it means that we don't have to walk or anything like that in between them, and he's our strongest character. So the 2 fights of the 3 mini games he can do easily. So we're going to skip this cutscene, which is called Prisoners of Olympus, and it works a little different than the others because it actually saves your game's state when it takes place. I'll kind of explain that a little later. Nice. Frame 1, we landed it. We're doing great. We're going to turn around here, and we're going to sign up for minigame 1. Now, again, you're supposed to have 3 characters, and you're supposed to assign each one of them a civic duty. But instead, we're just going to say, yeah, you know what, I got it. You know what I'm most impressed about is even how broken and crazy this game is, that the game like never collapses, right? The fact that the game's like, all right, yeah, you know, you don't have 3 people like you should. I guess we'll just let this one guy do it. That's what's crazy to me, because there's a lot of games out there that once it checked for the party members you're supposed to have, it was like, oh, you know what? You don't have the correct party members. Game's crashed. So I'm astounded that the game continues to... There's a few things we do that will absolutely ruin it. And we just got to make sure that we don't, you know, do that on accident. So we're going to equip all of this right here. We're going to save right here. Save right here. We're going to crash the game because, like all the other cutscenes, that one was about to unload itself. And by forcing it, we get to do it on our own time instead of when it's most inconvenient. So we got ourselves a weapon and a full set of gear now, which is important because we're going to do the first minigame, and then the second and third minigame are actual combat. So the first instances of combat in the game, you guys are about to see it, and boy is it a doozy. It's hilarious, and it's busted. Even though we have some of the weakest gear in the game, we can actually one-shot every single boss in the entirety of the game because there is a way to access a spell that I assume was made for debuggers that just kills everything, which is pretty neat. I'll let you guys watch this cutscene because it's voice acted and it's funny. Oh, I'm so sorry. I bonked into my mic there. Can we order this on a 525 floppy? If you guys are that interested in, and you know what, I really want to touch on the fact that like I run a no major skips category for this. It's like 7.5 hours.
It begins.
It begins. Because there's so much content. There's some of the funniest scenes. It actually like won awards for how funny some of the scenes were. It was voted like one of the funniest games, top 100 funniest games, and stuff like that. They're amazing, and I really wish I had the time to show them to you guys, but I just won't at the end of this marathon, unfortunately. There's actually an NPC in the game that you can only access by cheating, and if you go up there and you talk to him, he says, "Hey, what's up, cheater? Nice job getting up here." He's like, "I'm stuck up here because I can't cheat like you to get down." And then his giant bird lands on his shoulder and flies away with him. It's really crazy. There's a lot of character and hilarious dialogue and all kinds of stuff like that in this game. They did a really impressive job with making it like character relationship one of the best of any game I've ever played. Yeah, in fact, when you talk to that NPC, he'll say something, his head is super square, and you can say, "Why is your head so square?" And he's like, "Because I was made in 1998 when there was only 138 polygons." And Boots is like, "Wow, that's pretty sad." He's like, "You can hear all about my story in Anachronox dot something," and he references a file in the actual game code. And then Boots says, "No, that file's not called that anymore." And he's like, "It was edited, and it got rid of my storyline, which is why I'm stuck on this building." It's super meta, man. It's so hard to explain without showing you guys, but maybe at the very end of the game, if we come in enough underestimate, I can show you that guy. He's super sassy. Oh man. So what's about to take place here is the first instance of combat. We're actually going to have 2 of our 5 fights in the game. Is this the same engine as Deus Ex? Switz, who is in chat, would know better than I do. I believe so. Ion Storm made Deus Ex, they made Anachronox, they made Daikatana. So I would... Okay, so Switz right there, he's the developer, one of the developers of this game, so he would have a better idea than literally anyone. But, so I'll explain what's happening in combat. Now, in combat, if you have a piece of mistech which gives you access to a spell, you can click on the tile that corresponds to magic, and then click on the spell in your magic slot. Now, if you don't have enough MP to cast that spell, then that spell will be grayed out, right? In certain fights where you're not allowed to cast magic at all, you won't have the magic menu even appear. But we can bypass that by hitting number 4 on the keyboard, which pulls up the magic menu, because that's its corresponding digit, whether you're supposed to have access to it or not. And then we can hit any number of keys to cast the corresponding spells in our spell list. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit 4, and then we're going to hit 9, which is the debug spell number. So you're going to see, boom, 9, and we're going to cast it on this guy. You so look at Boots' animation, and watch how much damage this does. 182,000. So just to give you a reference point, the strongest, beefiest enemy in the entire game has under 80,000 HP. So we should not have access to any magic because we have no MP. And we shouldn't even be able to open the magic menu, but by hitting 4, we force open the magic menu. Instead of having to click on it, we hit number 9, which is an invisible spell not listed, and then we just one-shot everything in the game. Sometimes it does more than 200,000. Oh, there you go, 206. That might be the highest I've ever seen. So as you can imagine, combat is relatively trivialized because of this. The worst part is waiting for these guys to go through their animations. Another talking point is you can see how Boots still has his black eye from the beginning of the game. If you were playing casually, you would know that, like, he gets cleaned up and changes outfits and stuff, like, in the first 10 minutes. Which is funny because we actually finished the entire game with him looking like this. There we go. So that's fight number 1. So we've done minigame 3 and we've done minigame 1. So now we're going to do minigame 2. And again, because we didn't have characters to assign to those jobs, Boots just has to do all 3 of them, which is good because he's the only one with the equipment on to cast this magic. It doesn't matter what element mistech you have equipped. You just have to have one equipped. If you don't, you'll crash the game when you hit the number 4 key. Now for fights where you cannot cast magic, like you shouldn't be able to use it, there's some boss fights that have like barriers or disable your magic use and stuff like that. You can actually, it doesn't unequip that piece of gear from you, it just makes the menu in combat not clickable. So again, you can just ignore that by hitting number 4 on the D-pad or on the keypad. Unfortunately, we're getting bad ATB luck, so that's a bummer. We're going to kill this guy first because he's the only one with any kind of damage pressure. That's a Dr. Pepper cream soda, in case you're wondering. It hits. It do slap. So we're going to lose a little bit of time just because we got bad ATB and we're going to have to watch all these animations. But it's not the end of the world. What am I at, like 55 minutes on your end? Oh my goodness. Look at all of these slow animations. 53. Okay, that's actually better than I thought. Cool. That's a lot of damage. So thankfully we reduced the amount of combat to as little as possible. We fight these two guys because we have to. Then we fight the second to last boss, who has 2 phases, so that's 2 more of the fights. And then we fight the final boss, who he's the 5th fight. So unfortunately we're losing like a minute and a half just due to the RNG of where our ATB started and all these animations we're having to sit through. It feels bad, but it's okay. There's actually a fast forward functionality in this game where you can fast forward through animations, cutscenes, and stuff like that, but we won't use it. It's banned in this category. Kind of like using command codes to clip yourself out of soft locks, but you know, it's not important. So now what we're gonna do is a really hard skip called the dome skip. And I gotta, again, like the cinder skip, the one where we warped out of bounds in that space shuttle area, I'm gonna be trying to pay as close. It's very, very imperative that you do it in the correct order. And if you don't, you just lose the game. There's a couple of things that you cannot screw up and recover from, and this is one of them. So we're gonna go over here. We're gonna stand in front of this guy. His name is Santa. We're gonna save right here. We're gonna save right here. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna load the Cinder Station scene. And then we're going to open up our mods. Go to Big Gun Outro. And then we're gonna mash frame 1 to open up this. Load Cinder Station again. And boom, perfect, we nailed it. We get this awesome busted cutscene. So watch this beautiful cutscene in all its glory. So what it's showing you here is actually the inside of Cinder Station, and it's giving you, what is happening is the cutscene that we're watching is actually taking place in the confines of the zone we were in. But it's still showing the sprites and the top layer of stuff for the original cutscene, which is why you see those dudes just running through empty space. So we're gonna let the game unload itself. We're gonna do this. We're actually going to load the fountain area so that we can set up the battle skip one more time. We're gonna turn around. And we're going to go back to where we just were. And then we're going to do a pretty neat... We're going to have to access that Prisoners of Olympus scene that I mentioned previously. It's a cutscene that actually saves your character progression. And if you really, really paid attention to it, you would notice that when we started that scene earlier, we had Boots appearing by himself, which is what I mentioned where we don't have the party members we should. And now you see how all 3 of them are here. Now that's imperative. We need to activate all 3 party members for our save file moving forward. So now, when we go to Prisoners of Olympus and we mash it, it's going to give us credit for where we were. So we're going to save here. We're going to crash the game to get rid of the game unloading that cinematic. And then we're going to come here to the Santa save, the save that we made right in front of Santa. And we're going to load this one at the same time as we mash and hope that we can interact with Santa at the same time as that other save file is loading up. We did it. Nice. So that is the dome warp. Now that we have credit for this scene, we're actually going to close it. Yeah, Twitch has been mediocre for me the past few days as well. We're going to come here. We're going to crash the game, load the game, mash escape to load it again. We're going to save. We'll save right here just to be safe. Now we're going to go to new game. We're going to watch the intro once again. And then we're going to open up this load. And boom, there's the dome warp. I know it doesn't look like a lot's happening, but trust me, it is. So this is, once again, the very, very first cutscene we saw in the game where we start Anachronox. And now it's even more broken than it was when we first started. Then we've seen it broken twice now, and now it gets worse and worse progressively. I'm gonna actually scroll down on my notes. I apologize. Anytime that I tab out of the game, it pauses. Yeah. I mean, this is super common to happen casually. Happens all the time. It's a beautiful scene. You get to see all this stuff flying through this beautiful empty space. And then as soon as this is over, we're going to do another skip immediately after, called the Rowdy skip. And he's going to say his name. And the first person that correctly spells his name when he says it in chat, I will donate some money in that person's honor to Big John's fund here. It's coming up. You'll know it when you see it, trust me. And it will, because I have subtitles on. I'm kind of cheating and letting it be seen. So if you guys are quick, you can just, like, bring it back up or something. But so we need a save, so we don't have to watch that a second time. We need to unload. Now this one works a little different. We actually have to save inside of the load. So we're going to run forward. Once pause comes up, we know we're good. Save in the load. We're going to open up Big Gun Outro right here. We're going to mash to load the save, and get ready, here it comes.
Rowena Calica.
There you go.
Holy
First
shit.
person to repeat that name.
The doors.
$25 donated in their honor.
No thanks, Mac. I'm off the sauce.
This isn't for you. Rowena Helicon. You know how long I've waited for the man I'm lucky enough to know that name? Not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting you.
Oh, Mr. Curium, you were so close, my man. Oh, that's good stuff. You guys are funny. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna load the Cinder save. And we're gonna shuttle warp to Limbus, or to Hephaestus rather. And we're gonna. Damn it! Oh, dang it! Sorry, that's what I meant to say. So we have to, this is pretty nice, we got it. Okay, so Hephaestus is 2 left, center click. Now that we're here, we save. We choose to load the cinematic Cinder Station. And then we mash to load this save. And we get another broken cutscene. Enjoy it in all of its glory. I think Razern Koopa is the first person who nailed it. So when my run is done, I will donate $25 in your honor. Good job, everybody. That was it was worth the wash for sure. So now that this scene is, once it comes to an end, we'll be in Cinder Station. And the reason we're doing all this and warping to each one of these places strategically is because we need to have certain boxes checked off in order for the end game content to take place. So right now we're filling out every single one of those flags as we jump from place to place. Rowena Calicon. It's even harder if you don't have subtitles on. I figured that would be too impossible. But you guys all did an amazing job. So we're going to end up in Cinder Station, which is the area that we got out of bounds early on and skipped like the whole game. Mavis Beacon. Oh, man. Look at Boots in the background just running through space. That's hilarious. That's quality. And I'm mashing because I don't want to miss it. If I miss it, we got to watch this whole thing again. So if we can continue completely lost and dead as long as Pal is in the bar. If he's not in the bar, we're going to have to get creative with what we do to finish this run out. But he should be. He's very, that's just kind of how it works. I think I did everything perfectly up until this point. So, but, sometimes I get surprised. So we're going to find out together. But first, we need to skip a cutscene. Now that we've done all these crazy, intricate skips with loading and saving and cutscenes and everything, doing a simple cutscene skip where we just run, save, and load, I just feel like, wow, I think I'm missing something, but I'm not. It's just easy. It is complicated, and I've been trying to explain it. Why not? Well, this is on keyboard. This isn't on controller, unfortunately, but I appreciate it, Ferg. I'm a big Turbo fan, controller fan, so my homies are coming in chat to josh me a little. Okay, guys, everybody finger crossed, bless RNG, that Pal is exactly where he needs to be, and we will be in amazing shape. And he's there! Oh my goodness, praise the Lord. Thank goodness, he is here. I actually knew he would be there. I wasn't even worried about it, truth be told. So what we're going to do is we're going to, we saved here. We're going to go to the Lounge of Commerce. We're going to shuttle warp. That's what we're going to do. There's actually 2 ways to do it. I think shuttle warp is slightly faster. Oh, we got it first try. Dope. So we're going to go back to Anachronox. Actually, you missed it. I did a strafe jump at the very beginning of the game, kind of. I used my strafe momentum to propel me over a wall. It's like the very first skip we do in the game, or the second or something.
Attention, South Anachronox.
So now we're going to go upstairs. Is there a specific Discord to go to? Yeah, there is. If you go to Big John's Twitter, he has it linked there. Off the top of my head, I don't have the link, but that's where I got it from. Or actually, if you go to the Owengus page or whatever it's called, you can find it there as well. Alrighty, so next thing we're gonna do is we are going to warp through this area. Not really. We're actually just gonna walk, which is pretty lame. But now we're gonna go to that place where we bought that $5,000 ticket for $100. That's the last area in the game. It's called One Gate. Well, technically the last area. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go there now. It's the other ship. We missed the first bus, and now we're taking the one on the other side. And it's gonna take us to where Detta's mansion is, Detta's fortress. And we're gonna skip all the encounters there, obviously, in good fun. And we used to actually do a shop and a duplication glitch in One Gate, but we're gonna wait all the way until the end now because with the debug spell that one-shots all encounters, we actually don't need it. So we'll head to One Gate. And everything so far has been going really well. I mean, we're a little slow for marathon safety and consistency's sake, but things are shaping up, guys. We're gonna be able to finish this bad boy. And in Anachronox speedruns, that's not always the case, so this is looking up. Now, I actually have a bunch of backups just in case something were to happen, but I'm super glad that we're not having to resort to them. What kind of speedrunner would I be if I, had to, clip through a soft lock at the beginning of the game or something? That would be ridiculous. Alrighty. So now that we are here in One Gate, we're actually just going to straight up exit. And we are going to go to the last leg in the game. However, I need to make sure that I activate my battle skip right before I zone. Otherwise, we're going to take encounters. And obviously, we're not about that. We're not about all that encounter business. Not in my RPG. So we'll do it right here. We'll save. We'll load the fountain area, like I mentioned. Very important to have that save for the entirety of the game. and we'll go on with our lives now that we are completely immune to taking encounters. So once we get to the end of this pathway here, completely unimpeded by guards, who you'll see just standing there staring at us, not knowing what's going on, we're going to have to choose whether or not, like, we have to split the party into 3. Pal goes by himself. Stiletto, who is another character, has to go in one party, and Boots has to go in another. And then of the 4 remaining characters, you have to assign them yourselves. Now, the only one that's important is that Grumpos goes with Stiletto. Everybody else is completely up to you. And the reason for that is we're going to do 2 out-of-bounds skips that are both pretty neat. But I need to make sure that I don't screw that up. Otherwise, we're going to have to get a little creative with how we finish this run. But, I mean, it's hard to screw up. So here we go. Boom. We did it. Dang, we actually saved a lot of time there. Did I miss something? I sure hope not.
2 teams of 3. I'll lead one. Stiletto will lead the other.
So this is our whole party now. I know that you guys don't recognize any of them because we haven't actually seen ourselves acquire them. But these are all the people that we've acquired throughout our very ambitious journey through this game. If you do the game as intended, you'll meet Stiletto in the red light district at a very choice named strip joint. Paco is a superhero. Actual Paco's area is my favorite in the whole game. It's this whole chapter of the game, and everything is completely in comic book text and font. It's got like the sound effects. All the combat is very comic booky. It's hilarious. There's a lot of plays on comic book characters and things. So, you know, if you ever get a chance to play the game casually, do yourself a favor. It's really awesome. But what we're going to do right now, as soon as we pick the characters that we want to go somewhere, before we hit accept, we're actually going to hold back and right. And the reason for that is because we can actually have Boots step over the trigger for his little leg of the story and immediately complete it without having to do anything. The way that this structure is built, yeah, one of the characters is a planet that we save that shrinks itself down to accompany us. And that planet is hilarious. It's called Democritus, and basically the whole planet, you have to go and help people vote. And then if you turn in your votes with what the people want, and they're not in line with what the leaders are demanding, then your votes just get denied. So it's a democracy. You just have to vote how they want you to. And the whole place is like a play on like democratic America and stuff. It's really cheeky. So we need to make sure Grumpos goes with her, and the others can go this way. So now we're gonna, like I said, step all the way over here, which will allow Boots to automatically auto-complete his first leg of the journey, which is the longest one. Pal is done, and now Boots. I mean, Stiletto, rather. Yeah, this game has so much content, so many different places and hilarious, you know, scenes and things like that I can't do justice. Okay, so now that we're here, we're going to save. We're going to warp with Boots by doing meeting Grumpos, and then a load, save, load. Load, save, load. And that should pull us right out of bounds. Perfect. And we're just going to run over here back in bounds. And that allows us to skip all of the long bits. And we just go right to the end of this little leg. Super simple, you know, real reasonable stuff. Nothing too advanced. We just gotta save, watch a cutscene, load to cancel it, save again, and then load one more time to warp ourselves out of bounds. You know, it's pretty elementary. Glad you guys are following along and enjoying it. So we're gonna stand right here. And we're going to do Pal's section now. Now remember, the game wants to unload the scene we're watching. So first we're going to hack this station. Now if you look, you got a timer up here that ticks down. It really puts a lot of pressure on you, you know? But you can actually just pause the game. Like that. And auto-succeed. Without having without anything bad happening. Now we need a save, because the game wants to unload itself. There's the unload. Boom, we're good. A, C, K, M. That pause thing makes me sick. Yeah, I know, it's busted. So he's done. So we're gonna do stilettos. Well, to be fair, not a whole lot of keyboards back then had... You know, it's a weird functionality that you can abuse. Don't feel too bad, it's all in good fun. So Stiletto and her glorious running animation. We're gonna come over here, ignore all these fights that we're supposed to take, and we're just gonna run to the end of her segment. Alrighty. And dunsies. Now Boots, he's just going to cross this bridge, go to the end, and now we're done with him. So now we're actually gonna do the next harder skip. It's actually a series of 2 skips that we're gonna use Grumpos for, and this one makes me nervous. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. It's hard. So we're gonna switch to Grumpos. We're gonna save. Twice, actually. We're going to load PAL 18. And then load, save, load. Where is it? So remember, I took very specific cutscenes that we watched and didn't skip early on in the game, and it's for reasons just like this. Okay, please, please. There we go. Nice. We didn't bust out of bounds. That's amazing. So we're gonna come stand right here, right in front of this pod, and we're gonna save. Now we're gonna run back and activate this computer, and then we're gonna immediately save again right after to activate the pods. Oh yeah, you know, this game takes, that's what I was saying. The game takes a staggering amount of abuse. It's bewildering. The fact that it still operates and the storyline still progresses. It's truly insane. I've seen a lot of games completely crash over a lot less. So we're gonna save right here because the game wants to unload. Boom. We dodged the unload, which would put us all the way back at the beginning of this area. Now we're gonna make a save file. Oops, did I save over it? I hope not. Oh, bummer, I did. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, yikes. Well, I might have screwed that up. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. What we can do is just do the skip over. So we're gonna lose a little bit of time, but it's okay. Let's save one more time right here. So save, load. It's okay. I saved multiple times on purpose because those skips are so easy. A single mistake will cost you your run, and for a marathon, that's exactly why I did that. So we're totally fine. We should still come in just under estimate. No big deal. Whoops. Alright, neato. So now we save in front of this that's now open, as you can see. We're going to save right here. We should have one that's... Okay. And then we'll save this one again. So now we have 2, right? One open and one closed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to mash as fast as we can in an effort to activate that pod. Boom! There we go. We did it. Nice. So we activated that pod in overlapping cutscenes, and it basically warps everybody to the 4th leg of this little puzzle that we're doing. So the people who distribute the pods should not be the ones who also get inside of them, but that's what we just did. So now we're on to the last little leg. We're just going to activate some security doors so that the rest of the party can continue. And then we're going to switch over to Stiletto. Cool, cool. So she needs to, and look, they're right back where they started, in the pod area, which is hilarious. Oops. Unlock the workshop door for Pal. She's gonna go stand over yonder. Okay, I had to check if battle skip was still active. That's important, and it is. We're good to go. So aside from that one little flub where I accidentally saved too many times, we are in absolutely good shape. Oh wait, this is the right way. Boy, there we go. All these little blue dudes, they're just standing here, just chilling. So we're gonna go activate this computer over here to free the other two parties, and then we're going to interact with this scene, and this scene. Or we're gonna interact with this, look at that, it's all bugged out. We're gonna interact with this door behind us. It's gonna give you a little motion sickness. Yep, it's all part of the plan. And then we're gonna go back over here and meet Boots in this airlock. So Boots will take an encounter here if you're not careful. You can also shop at that little bug guy that's being backed into that corner after you kill those dudes. And we don't do that anymore because we have a way to duplicate. Oops, we have a way to duplicate all of our items, so we don't need to shop, which is very fortunate. And look, there's our homie Pal just chilling. So we're gonna take off. And we're gonna bring Pal back with us. If I can do the dupe glitch quickly enough, we'll make a pretty good time. And now we gotta bring Stiletto's party, oops, wrong way. Stiletto's party into the fold. Cool, neato, we made it. So she'll go in first, and we're gonna sit everybody, we're gonna pop them right here. And just wait for everybody to group up. Then I'm going to set up all their gear. Then we're going to move on to some of the final stages of the game. You actually can't change gear or anything like that from this point forward. So we'll go to Boots. We'll save. We're going to crash the game to get rid of battle immunity. And we have to do 7 duplication glitches. Seostris. This is where I saved, right? It is. Look at that. That's really handy. So what we're going to do is we're going to load the upper fortress, and we're going to spam the inventory button, which will bring up the inventory, which will bring up the inventory of the, of this party in a previous state, or it should at least. You have to do it real quick. There you go. We'll unequip that. We save. We go back to this, and we just do this 6 more times. 2. Sometimes you gotta wait a little bit. Every third one doesn't work. I don't know why it does that. That's just how it works. Dang it. I think maybe I'm just not fast enough. That's okay. We're at 2, so we need 5 more. Shouldn't be too bad. It's 3. 4. 5. Oops. Wrong save. we missed it. Six. And this should be the last one here. 7. Alright, cool. So let's save. Let's make sure everybody has gear. So we're gonna equip, 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 equip. Alright, dope. We're gonna save, and we're going to agree to move forward. Nice, we're actually ahead of time now. We saved a bunch of time at some point. Cool. So now we get this little scene where it's going to explain kind of the story. So once upon a time, Stiletto, the chick in the purple, she was actually an assistant detective at Boots' agency. Well, one day she decided to take off. Boots was super into her, even though Fatima, when she was alive, was into Boots. Well, Fatima went with Boots in his car as he chased her. She was in the car of a criminal or on a getaway, I can't remember. But they crash. Boots crashes his car, which is what kills Fatima. Now, stricken with grief, Boots comes to Detta and completely liquidates everything he has, every penny he owns, to get him to recreate Fatima in this digital form. And that's why he's in such significant debt.
You like my new digs?
And she doesn't know that. He never told her. She just calls him a bum and tell him he's washed up and all that stuff, not knowing that all of his assets were completely liquidated in order to pay for her to have her life back. Very wholesome.
How much money?
How badly can you screw up the run if you mismanage to save and load menus? It depends on for a duplication, you can't really. You just do it again until you get it. But there are some where you would, like for instance, when I'm warping I'm using the Anachronox intro to warp to the very beginning of the game. If I save and then load and then watch the cutscene and then load again, it won't work. It'll completely bug out the game and I'll have to reset. Instead of saving, cutscene, load, which is the correct way to do it. So certain situations like that are very, very particular. Certain cutscenes that you watch, like the Prisoners of Olympus, actually solidify your game state. So anytime you screw up one of those, you're in real trouble. So you just gotta know which ones to be really careful around. Oh, nice. So we're actually going to do the developer debug one-shot nuke and kill this guy in one turn. And then we're going to go to the second phase of this fight. Now, the second phase of this fight used to take anywhere from 1.5 minutes to 5 minutes. If you got the fast fight, you would save, about 5 minutes. Because there's like a weird caveat where he can take damage before he can heal. Because this guy will heal himself. So if you did the correct amount of damage at the exact right moment, and it was really RNG, he would end the fight immediately. But now that we know we can one-shot everything, since we've learned that,
It's a revolution.
it's a guaranteed one-turn fight.
Anyone can
Listen to this dialogue here, it's amazing.
somebody with the right slag of Mistech. This isn't about our little street feud anymore. It's about our future.
Future, huh? You want to know the difference between you and the you 5 minutes ago? The you 5 minutes ago had 5 minutes to live.
Got him. Alright, chill, bro. Dang. So that's unfortunate that he got a turn off before we did. It's irrelevant. He can't kill us. Cool. That should be it. Yeah, and it's funny because Boots should not look like this right now. Boots should be in a completely different outfit, having done a numerous amount of story triggers. Cool. So now we are moving on. Now actually, it's just cutscenes until the final boss of the game, which is not Detta. We're actually 1 minute and 13 seconds ahead of my PB right now, which is incredible. Alpaca's world record, we can't beat just because he uses faster tech that I was not comfortable with trying to do in a marathon. But maybe I'll grind it out towards the end of today, or this week in my own time, and take that one back. But Alpaca, again, everything you guys have seen today that's been crazy and bonkers and like doesn't make sense, this one dude, Alpaca, came up with all of it, all himself. And you know, I cannot shout out the dude enough. It's bewildering to me that this stuff exists. That anybody, he literally dug through code. It's insane.
You did the right thing. Grab the stone and let's have a party.
Well, dang, we got Ion Switz in here, one of the developers of the game, dropping some sick behind-the-scenes lore. I appreciate you watching, Swizz. After all of the Anachronox 2 tweets I send your way, it's very nice you've been willing to look past that and join us today.
This what you're looking for?
So when earlier when we dropped the whole Rowita Helicon element, it turns out that those aliens you saw on Limbus, those weird looking dudes, Rowdy is actually one of those in disguise, here to watch this dimensional warp gate to make sure that it always stays closed. Now this key is this piece of mistech that we found this whole time. What we need to do is destroy the key so that the gate will remain closed forever and it can never be opened ever again. So that was the whole point. They just didn't realize what they found that day in the cave, that it was the keystone. What year did this game come out? I believe 2001? 2001, 2002, something like that. 2001, there you go, from the dev's mouth himself. So right here, he goes to throw the stone into this abyss to destroy it forever. But wait a second.
Well, here goes.
Gasp. He's one of the bad guys.
What are you doing? What must be done?
Dun dun dun. He opens the dimensional gate. Grumpos was the bad guy the whole time. What's funny is there's actually a scene that's hilarious. One of the most famous scenes in this game where they are stuck in space for like 16 days. And it shows a series of cutscenes of the characters like losing their minds. And during that 16 days, they never once got a peep under Grumpos' beard, apparently. And it summons, you know, earlier on, Row, we skip that area, but it gives us an explanation of how, like, parallel universes work. And the universe that these bad guys, these powerful beings are in, that universe is dying and collapsing. So they're trying to open this dimensional portal to go to another universe and hijack it. Yeah, this game was made by Ion Storm. And Ion Switz, one of the devs, is dropping some knowledge on us here in chat. So yeah, if it looks like Deus Ex or Quake 2 or even Daikatana or something like that, then there's good reason for it. So this final boss is actually, it's complex, but it's very simple. So basically what happens is every single character is in a circle, and they all have a corresponding elemental orb. Now, we gotta kill the orb that's in front of them and have them step on that place that the orb was in an effort to make that orb no longer able to respawn. Now, Boots' elemental orb needs to get killed the quickest, so we need him to move immediately. But you can only control 3 characters at a time, so it works in a weird series, and you'll have to just see. So we're gonna use this to target Boots right here. And then we're going to come over here to Boots and get ready to move forward. Now you'll notice I have Boots, Stiletto, and Row in order on the bottom of my screen. Now when Boots is no longer able to take place in combat, because he is standing on his element, you'll notice that his character model is still here. Well, this is actually Stiletto now. So if you're not really careful, this is Pal. So if you're not really careful, you can actually cast spells. Oh, I can't do it with her because she is... Oh, I'm sorry, this is Paco. So we need to kill the red one next. And then get ready to move. So you gotta be really careful about what you're doing here. Otherwise, you're gonna move the wrong characters. And if you kill things in the wrong order, then the orbs will respawn. So here, this looks like Ro, but it's actually Pal. And this is Ro. I don't know why it does that. I really don't. I don't know if that's on our end, something that we've done. Well, let me wait for this first. Just so I can guarantee I know which character this is. Because I'm pretty sure this is Ro. Yeah, that is. So we need this character to have movement. So that we can get rid of them. Okay, so this is Democritus. Okay, cool. That's much easier. Oh, it's not much easier because... Boo! It reset her ATB. Now she's slowed. It's okay. We'll be able to get Democritus out. You have to have a line of sight on things you're casting on. There we go. And now we need to get Democritus ready to move. So we're losing time here. We might not PB, but we should do pretty good time-wise. We have to wait till that animation is done of it disappearing before we can move onto it. Boom, we got it. Okay, so now it's corrected itself. So now what we're going to do next is get rid of Stiletto. Just because she's the lowest HP. Where is Stiletto's? She is right here. Oh, we can't. We gotta do it with Ro. No line of sight. Okie dokie. And then we'll get her ready to move. Now, whenever I move her, it's going to reset Pal's ATB, unfortunately, so we'll have to wait a whole turn. So, cool. Now we're down to the final two. We'll have Ro kill Pal's. He'll move forward. And then Ro will have to take 2 turns to kill her own and step forward. And then I'll call time here in a minute. I'll let you know. But it's going to be when the last character steps forward. Come on, man. You're killing me. Slow animations. Oh, my PB. It's okay. I'm not actually too stressed. I'm super... It didn't matter anyways, because we cheated at the beginning. That's right. Oh, all is right with the world. Stress has disappeared. Cool. So now what we're doing is... we're just going to move Ro forward. So with Ro's first turn, we're going to attack. And then with Ro's second turn, we're going to move forward. So when her second turn comes around, I'll call time. Exactly. Alrighty. So get ready on time. And time. So 3.3 seconds slow on my PB. But an invalidated run nonetheless. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's Anachronox. There is a crazy amount of... if you guys want, I can show you the little debug NPC really quick. I can warp to him and show you how he works. But otherwise, I mean, that's basically it. That's the entire run. We did Anachronox in, like, I think sub 145. Did we come in under estimate? I don't have the stream up, so... $137. Oh, wow. Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah, well then, we'll fast forward this. Basically, it shows you the end. They're all regrouping, and the credits roll. So just to show you the cool scene really quick, map Votown. We're gonna let me open it up. We're gonna go to Votown. We're gonna type in exec Q2. And we're gonna fly up into space to this guy right here. Now exec Anachronox. Now we're gonna talk to this guy and read what he says. You mock me with your presence. I don't have the luxury of simply cheating and flying through walls as you can. I'm bound by the rules. I'm afraid I'm stuck here forever. So how did you get here? He says, my ship crashed and was marooned here. And then he says, you lie. In this file, there was life, a fair chance. And he says, no, that file was edited and saved, fixing a lot of visual problems, but also leaving me stranded. Super meta, man. We make fun of his square head. And he says, you got 168 polygons in my head. And this guy in Boots says, well, I got about 700. So yeah, that is, there's a whole bunch of really, really funny quirks about this game. But that is it, Big John, my man. I'm looking at you in Discord. If you guys are ready to phase me out, you're more than welcome to do so. Thank you so much for letting me partake. Switz and chat, I appreciate you watching. Everybody who's stuck around for Anachronox. My name is Professor_Palmer. I stream weird games like this all the time. So you guys have been a joy. Enjoy the rest of the event, and good luck to the future runners.